Oh.
And no one-legged! Right, me hearties. I love for you, for you, for you, for you.
Tommy Jun. Good man, Tommy Jun.
On Jim,
Tommy Jun. Good man, Tommy Jun.
and I see us,
Tommy Jun.
begging your heart.
Good man, Tommy Jun.
And I see us, on Jim,
Tommy Jun.
begging your heart. Banish all the
Good man, Tommy Jun.
and I see us, on Jim,
Tommy Jun.
begging your heart.
Good man, Tommy Jun.
And I see us, on Jim,
Tommy Jun.
begging your heart.
Good man, Tommy Jun.
And I see us,
Tommy Jun.
begging your heart.
Good man, Tommy Jun.
And I see us, on Jim,
Tommy Jun.
begging your heart. Banish all the
Good man, Tommy Jun.
and I see us, on Jim,
Tommy Jun.
begging your heart.
Good man, Tommy Jun.
And I see us, on Jim,
Tommy Jun.
begging your heart.
Good man, Tommy Jun.
And I see us, oh, the red hot cakes.
Well, hello, everyone. Goodness, it has been a trial on the back end of things. Welcome to DaraChat. My name is Daramuth, or Dara for short, and don't forget to unmute yourself. There you go. How are all of you today? Yeah, I know, Abe. It's one of those days, but it's all right. We're here now. We're live. We're excitable, I guess. I don't know. The word exciting for you, Ryan Rogers, sort of left field. The word that would describe you is not pungent. What would be the word? It'd be deadpan, I would think, basically. Is the
No,
word.
don't say pungent. You'll accuse me of being smelly, and I'd be like, damn, another creator going after me.
No,
But
yeah, I didn't say mean pungent. I was trying to find the word. It's more like deadpan. Like you could just you have your stuff. By the way, though, you have changed over time, good sir. You're looking well.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. It's great to be here. I'm just going to say hi to the folks in the YouTube chat, but I know more people watch you on Rumble.
Well,
I call this show the Graveyard Show because it's criminally underrated and nobody watches. So yeah, it's great to have you here.
Nobody watches your show. That's not true. You have like 2-something K followers. So I mean, that's not nothing.
I literally have a regular on the Monday show called Nobody, Mr. Nobody.
Oh, that's right.
Nobody does
Yeah.
watch my show. Hopefully he'll watch this one, whether it's live or on the replay. But folks, whether you're on YouTube, Rumble, like the stream, share the stream, subscribe to me, obviously.
Yeah.
Check out this fine fellow creator. Hopefully the links are in the description down below.
They are.
So
I would not leave you high and dry, good sir. Never leave you high and dry. Because it's been a while since you've been on last. It's been, I don't know how long, to be honest. I don't. When you have on over 200 guests, the time starts to just evaporate into the ether, and you're wondering where everything is at. Abe. At least
that's
Abe.
the thing we have in common, Dara, is that we have both had on our respective channels hundreds of guests. I've moved more into panel shows and topical shows now. Revival is more of a once in a blue moon show now for one-on-one.
Right.
mainly because I barely have the time to do the panel shows now because I'm
Yeah.
here, there, everywhere, having good talks. But
Mhm.
it's a pleasure to be here. And will it work? Will my gimmick work?
There you
Camera
go.
follows me now. For some
Yes.
reason, I'm so big. Why am I so big? Zoom out.
Because
Zoom out.
because if you were so small, we wouldn't see you. I think that's the point. Because if you're too small,
Follows me.
it's like
If
a
I do
puppy.
that,
It's like a
it, it,
puppy.
it won't it won't zoom back out. I don't look good like this. Zoom out,
How,
zoom out for goodness sake.
how long have you had that camera?
Only a few months, and it's only recently that it won't zoom out.
This sort of like puppy training here. You gotta do the puppy training.
You usually doing this would reset it, but it doesn't seem to want to work in
I
this
do that too.
day and
That's
age.
peace right there. That's therapy.
Yeah, more like this to the
I,
camera.
there you go. That's more personal. Or it's the middle one. You usually do the middle finger, and then I will take care of
Mhm.
everything.
My oh my!
I
But
think.
it's great to be here. Yes, it is unscripted, folks. And Raven Rainfall is now playing Bongo Cat on Steam. I get all these Steam messages now of everyone playing games. But
Mm.
go ahead, go
See,
ahead.
even Abe does it too. Look at that. Abe is doing the. Yeah, I think Tomby has a camera like that, like a camera that follows you.
Mm,
Yeah. But then again, he's always up on tech, so I'm pretty sure that's what you mean by people are up on the tech part is having that
mhm,
someone like him. Um,
mhm,
because I just have a Logitech Brio 500, and it looks
mhm,
good, but it doesn't follow me. But I don't need all those gimmicks because there's a point. Like I know there's a lot of different things we do, different sides of the field we come across, but there's a lot of things that, like, for me, gimmicky stuff really isn't necessary on my end because I don't really see much point. It's sort of like oh, what is the thing they call channel points, right? Like at Twitch, they talk about channel points um, uh, or like certain things on screen you could do, or bring up stars or whatever. It's just like a little, like, I don't know, squirrel sort of scenario where the squirrel comes up. It's like, oh look, there's a squirrel, and people keep watching it for some odd reason. Um,
They fill you in on a secret, Dara. It's a
mm,
super secret.
uh-oh.
The reason why creators spend lots of coin on all the bells and whistles is it's all for a tax write-off, all of it, so that they don't have to give it all away in taxes.
Well, luckily for me, I've not had to do that because I do have a full-time job, so that kind of takes care of that. And I
Yep,
don't.
you work for the FBI. We know this. That's your law.
That was the secondary job until they found out I gave secrets away, so that kind of got thrown out for that one. But oh, and Abe says, yeah, Tommy has the same kind of hand gesture controls. There we go. Now we know. But then again, I'm not surprised. I'm just
Doesn't
kidding.
follow me now because I told her to fuck off.
Yeah, see, it's like a puppy, right? If you treat it wrongly, it's gonna just not listen anymore. You know. But yeah, no, I know that. I mean, you're still going on over there. You're still working it hard. You're like the everyday man. You're working it hard on screen. You just don't show all the good stuff. You try to
Mm.
keep the cards at hand or close to your chest. However they say that one. I don't know. But yeah, no, it's always nice to have other people on. I mean, again, in this pursuit of just conversational matters, just around about everyone. Like I've had people on who uh treat the camera mean to keep it keen. Where is that
Mhm.
coming from? Treat the camera mean to keep it keen. I have no idea. Now I get a ceiling approach. There you go. Yeah, I like that. There you go. Oh, nice. There. Oh, oh, oh. That's a nice light. That's a very long light, to be honest. I just have
Yeah,
a
that's. I've used the same light since the start of my second run. That and yeah, that's probably that and the signal I use. the internet signal are the only two things that haven't changed.
Well, that's good. Usually, tools that last long are tools worth having, right? Like if you have I know I've upgraded some cameras. Obviously, some of the cameras I had didn't have autofocus, which was my first camera. Didn't have autofocus. Trying to show like a wording or writing on a book, nothing, right? You could barely see it. Hey, Paul, how are you? Hope you're doing well. Um, but then I
That's
got
my
the
line.
howdy, howdy. You like to
No. Hello, Paul Hadouken. I hope you're doing well.
see?
Stealing my lines.
I'm not stealing any lines. I'm just saying hello. That's what we all do anyway.
Great to see Paul. It's been too long since I had a good talk with Paul. Like to
Oh,
have him back on reality based sometime soon. All the Ball Busters crew. Yeah,
oh,
Dermy,
yeah.
who likes to shake his big body around. Gal. Who else off the top of my out of my massive brain? Um, Devil. What was
Devil.
his name? Yeah, Devil. Devil made me do it. Great guy.
Oh,
Kenzo. We had Kenzo on
nice.
recently. So many great people. So
Yeah.
many.
It's been a while since I've had Dermy Wormy on too, but then again, last time I talked to him, he was doing overtime at work. So he couldn't really do any other than his ball busters, of course, other than the weekend stuff, but he couldn't really do any overtime stuff. And then I've had some people who are considered the YouTube side. I've had Tom from me, Minute's Edge. I've had Nina Infinity, lovely lady. I've had on Dermy Wormy, of course, and of course Nagardnall. Nagardnall I've had on as well. Really great guy. Very he's one of a kind. He's one of a
Mm,
kind. Look, there you go. You got an answer back. There you go.
excellent. Most excellent. It's always a pleasure to interact with fine folks and fellow creators, folks. From the prominent creators like Hypno and Smash, all the way to fresh blood creators starting out. I'm here, there, and everywhere. If I moderated myself at times, I'd probably open a lot more doors. But I just have too much fun
Yeah.
doing. This is the third time Steam has told me Raven Rainfall is playing Bongo Cat. Probably one of the few problems Valve has
Yeah.
is their Steam messaging system.
Goodness
I
sake.
don't need to be told the same thing 3, 4, 5 times, Steam.
At least you know what they're playing. Is like, look, I can see you're playing. Can you just stop playing it for a while?
Well, it's not that good, Dara, when you're on a stream trying to play Dustborn and trying to fix all the technical difficulties, and one of
Oh.
your Steam friends is like, Lord Dragneil is playing Sex Universe 18 plus. And it's like, oh, for goodness sake. And then it comes up again and again and again. Okay, it's not a big problem, folks. It's not like, screw you, I'm raising the prices
Yeah.
like Nintendo or Xbox, but it's one of those little issues that
Yeah.
really grinds my gears.
Yeah, see, I'm surprised you didn't have a show named that Grind Your Gears, right?
I'm such a derivative person, my good man. I mean, Tangent Kings isn't native to reality based. System
Yeah.
Crash isn't native
Yeah.
to reality based. Old White Road is just New Black Street backwards. In fact, the nickname for that show, because it is on Friday nights, Raven Rainfall is now playing The Sims 4 and then Bongo Cat. So for all I know, you could be watching the show.
That's
My
all you can
goodness.
do.
And because on StreamYard, when I do the Dustborn streams, I have
Yeah.
to share my screen.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can be laggy, even if I align all the screen settings.
Yeah.
People can see those pop-ups while I'm playing. And it's like, oh yeah,
Mm.
most of my friends are just trolling me by playing sex games.
You just like, I get it. No, I get you're watching me. Yeah, can you just stop it, please? I can see you right now. Yeah, no, I don't need to see anymore. Just stop. Oh goodness.
Wow.
But yeah, and then you're just kind of over there, just kind of judging them silently. It's like, I can't believe you. Can't
There's
believe
a
you.
setting to turn that off, and people don't turn it off because they find it quaint and quirky that Steam has that feature. if Xbox did that feature, everyone would be like, "Oh, that's just another reason Xbox can go fuck itself." But
Right.
Steam does it. Yeah, it's fine. Fine.
Well, comparative to the two, I mean, obviously gaming now is going to be very kind of contriving since the systems are going to cost a lot, as far as I've seen. And
You want to pay $100 for living in America? Zombie with a D is playing Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster. We had Zombie on the system crash some time ago. Yeah,
mm,
happy to have him back on soon.
just let him know what games he's playing first before he.
I tell you, if any one of my regulars or guests who are on the show, Raven Rainfall is playing Bongo Cat, I don't need all these fucking messages, Steve. But if I see a guest or a regular on my show and there's a pop-up of them playing a game, I'm gonna call the shit out of them, folks. Because I know on SNH sometimes, Atreus and Kada
Mm,
especially
mm.
play games on the side while being on the show, and I'm like, dude, really? Or dudes, really? There's like 9 people here. Sometimes it's 10 and someone has to fuck off. We're all
Right.
trying to speak our minds, and you two,
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that word, you two are just playing games while you, and especially Atreus, and can be annoying, he's playing the game, he goes, "Ah!" It's like, fuck off, man. Fuck off.
Hey, you know what? When you get a bunch of, they're on
Zombie is playing Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remaster. Another alert.
It's just gonna be like, okay, what? It's gonna be like a betting game. It's like, oh, what's gonna be the next one? Oh, he's playing the 18 plus game. Dang it! Lose again. Yeah, but they can get annoying. Like I would open up Steam just kind of download because some games they updates and stuff, and you see this person in this thing and this person in this. I get it, but can you just stop? No, this person in this thing, this person, and no, just no. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm done with you people. Abe is playing. I'm playing Conan Exiles right now. Well, thank you for letting us know.
Can't anyone just do one thing at a time? Just one thing.
I really wish I could, but nowadays as a content creator, you have to do a multitude of things in order to compete and stuff. And I just say, okay, take the competition. I don't really care.
Well, I'm very appreciative that 10 people are watching on Rumble. I'm
Mm.
also very appreciative that no one is watching on YouTube, despite the fact that Abe just commented. So maybe he just brings it up occasionally and
And
types
plays-
after he gets killed in Conan Exile.
I bet you anything right now he's looking at that one guy that's coming lunging at him with a spear, and he's like, "Look, do I respond to them or do I kill the guy? You decide." Hey, horror stream, how you doing? But yeah, no, we're all
That's
too.
not you can't be commenting. If you are commenting, Abe, while 0 people are watching on YouTube, someone is fucking up.
I believe Abe might be doing that, because he does once in a while. He always begs to come on my show, and I'm telling him, just calm it down, okay? All right. Like he's already been on 3 times already. I don't know how much more he wants to be on. I don't know if he
Beg
wants
to be on my show, man. I'm looking for all the guests and regulars I can get.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's the when I've seen these posts on Twitter X where it's like they ask you, "What's the hardest thing as a content creator that you have to do? Is it the equipment? Is it like no? It's just scheduling people. That's the hard. That's the challenging thing. Everything else is pretty easy unless tech messes up, which is neither here nor there. That's just the life of it. But scheduling people is always he never lets me in. That is a lie. That is a darn right lie, and you know it. You know it, good sir. That's a darn right lie. Darn right
I
lie.
just find it funny that you bring up a comment and then half your face is gone. But I will say, folks, you should like troll your audience and say, well, when they say, "What's your biggest challenge?" Oh, Hypnotic's in the VTube studio, and Hypnotic is playing the first Berserker Kazan. Okay, I'm gonna probably see that message for the next 5 to 10 minutes, popping in and out. But I will point out
Mm,
troll your responder by saying the biggest problem any creator faces is
mm.
super fans who want our numbers so that they can pleasure us.
That's a different set of people altogether
Yeah.
there. I
Jeremy
I
Wormy goes to Vegas and Paul Leducan gets a nice clip of him fondling a prostitute.
Oh, man, he's never gonna live that one down, that's for sure. It's the, it's
I'm a fat person, okay?
mm,
He looked like the size of that lady times two.
mhm,
Like Jabba and Leia,
mhm.
just with no bed.
Ugh, ugh, ugh. Okay. Yeah, that's not an image I needed to see. Although your camera zooming in on you would take a drink. Now that's something. Didn't think that of Ryan. What's your number? No, no, no. No, I'm not giving you my number. That's the last thing I need to do. No, but I mean, a whole lot of people went to that FNT thing.
Mhm.
Um, Jeremy Wormy and again that and Tiny went to it. I
I know a
know
few people who did. Atreus and Kada both went. In fact, that's a funny story, Dara.
what.
Atreus was supposed to get a plane there,
Mm,
right, to fly from Georgia to Nevada,
mm,
and yeah, he missed his flight, and everyone in the Bigotverse laughed at him for missing his flight. But he managed to catch a late flight,
mm,
and he managed to get there on time. And he was having a great time. He ate like lots of edibles, and he
mm,
was going cuckoo cuckoo. Kada was just relaxing, but yeah, it was quite the sight to see from an
mm.
outsider looking in. Because
Yeah.
I'm probably one of the few
Mm,
creators who doesn't like the idea of meetups
mm.
because of the potential for things to go wrong.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah. Obviously.
because come on, move camera. There we go. And especially when drink too much, do
Yep.
too much,
Mm,
that sort of thing. All these jokes about creators in hotel rooms. I don't
yeah.
think they're really much jokes, judging by the clips we've seen
Mm,
here and there. People being chucked into pools,
mm,
other people fondling prostitutes. Dear me, what are you doing? To creators doing edibles, and it's like there's gonna get a point where these Vegas meetup things are gonna get so massive that
yeah.
it's gonna be in the news.
Yeah. Well, for me, it's sort of like I kind of get why they're a thing, but like you said, there are issues where things people get in trouble with. But not only that, it's sort of like your your people who support you supported you to go there as well. So
Mm.
you're taking that support and saying, "I'm gonna have fun with that support." Because for me, it's like I've been asked this before too, but like on relying it for full time, like I wouldn't really rely on this for full time because there's a problem with that. If you've done like a waiter, all right, if you've done pizza delivery, whatever, this is basically tips. I mean, no different, right? This is
I
not,
know I know a few creators, especially the prominent ones, who still rake it in terms of ad revenue, but they are the exception rather than the rule. A lot of the donation base is super chats,
yeah,
super stickers, super thanks, gifted
yeah,
memberships, that sort of thing. But looking at this purely from an analytical perspective,
mm,
we're going to reach a point, I think, by the end of the decade, where
mm,
so many people are watching and so many people are entering the arena
mm,
that the Vegas style meetup will just be a massive, massive endeavor. So much so that it'll just fill up hotels and
mm,
it'll be like a super event.
mm. Like a con, like a Comic Con,
Yes.
right?
Yes, but instead of isolated to like a particular venue,
Mm,
it could encompass the city.
jeez.
Because this really can scale, Dara, because
Mm,
every year we see a new generation of creators. Some of
mm,
them don't do well, some of them make a name for themselves, and
right.
some of them go from nowhere to everywhere.
Yeah.
and that will eventually scale up,
Mhm.
assuming the guys who led the way didn't go nuts and just spiral,
Right.
and that will lead to an inflection point where, yeah, this meetup is all the city, it's everywhere, it's every room booked, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Truly viral sensation.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I would, for me personally, instead of doing a meetup, I would rather go meet with people rather than just meet up. Because when you meet up, right, you become like, using F&T as an example, they become the center point of that whole meetup, right? There's no way of getting around those crowds. They are the epicenter of all that stuff. And getting to meet everyone, and there's a whole crowd, and you can barely hear anyone, and everyone's drinking, like you said, it becomes no different of what I've seen with panel shows where everyone's talking over each other. You can't really get a conversation in, and you're almost clawing at each other just to kind of get a word into the person hosting, right? I I don't know. I would meet with people in a public place, of course, but I personally wouldn't do a meetup just because of what you're talking about. Because sooner or later, it's going to get too big that it's going to be more communal than it is helpful, and it's just like, yeah, what then becomes the point, right? I'd rather go meet people than have people meet up with me. Well, that's kind of wrong to say because it's both ways. Um, but yeah, it's just one of those things. But I mean, for now, it is what it is. But sooner or later, like you said, it'll probably turn into a Comic Con type of place, and then you never know. It could be like it could have be a bunch of people ruining hotels.
You have crazy things. I've seen plenty of examples of creators doing crazy things. I think it was iShow Speed who
Hmm.
did this stunt
Hmm.
where he jumped over a supercar that was traveling at a couple of 100 miles an hour, and it was like a stunt done in the public view.
Mm-mm. Nope, I'm not risking my life for that. Um, I think who was it that did the fireworks though? I think it was Speed, wasn't it, who did the fireworks in our bedroom? Because I remember that's how he got big too. The iShow Speed was having that Pikachu
Mhm.
or some Pokemon firework in his bedroom, and I'm like, that's just dumb.
Hey, look, the guy, straight up, the guy, when he started his creator journey, vowed to stream every day and to put entertainment first. And
Mm,
that is why, as unhinged as he can be, he
yeah.
puts entertainment first, sometimes ahead of his own damn safety. But I'm
Mm,
sure they did like test things beforehand of him doing it at
mm,
much lower speeds. Because then, obviously, because you're not just going to do it first time.
mm,
It On the surface, it may be crazy, but deep
mm.
down, it's very professional. Otherwise, he would have gotten himself killed.
That is true. I guess you could say he's come close, at least with that firework one, which I think was pretty close. But yeah, that's so that begs the question: is what is the most man, I just hate on the stuff of content creation because I've begun to learn over time of what it involves. And the
Mm,
problem with part of that is you will find yourself in an area where, I'm really not trying to backhand anyone, You hear those stories of backhand DMs and all this stuff. I really don't care
yep.
about that. But what you do get is people who will just, for some odd reason, they'll stop talking to you, one,
Mm,
or they'll block you for no apparent
mm,
reason, and they'll never say anything to you. I'm just sitting there like, I thought at some point we could call ourselves adults and could at least have a conversation in private. But I'm finding that a lot of people who call themselves adults aren't really adults. They're more like shams to themselves. It feels like,
mm.
if that makes
I
sense.
call them wolves because I know people who don't follow me. Say, for example, on X, people who don't follow me on X who have been on reality based and we have good talks. I know people who follow me on X who can't fucking stand me, like privately, because I either make them too uncomfortable or I'm too controversial
Right, right,
or I take things too far, that sort of
right,
thing. And look, I have a very simple red line rule.
right.
don't cross swords with me, I don't cross swords with you. As soon as you start something, I will finish it. That's the dark side of keeping a record of every encounter I have with a content creator, because you honestly and legitimately never know. Today's friend can be tomorrow's enemy, and tomorrow's enemy can be today's friend.
Mm, yeah.
It's sad that we have to have this mindset, folks.
Right.
And for those just starting out, I think it's the wrong mindset to have. But
Yeah.
if you want to survive and thrive in this environment, especially down the line,
Mm,
and with more and more people entering the fray, you've
mm,
got to have that mindset of do whatever it takes to survive and thrive, to make a name for yourself, and to not be torn to pieces by your colleagues.
Well, that and be cautious, I would think would be another
Mm.
one too. To be cautious of your be cautious of your sort of like that Batman movie, right? Be aware of your surroundings, where he gets by Ra's al Ghul and all that stuff. On the ice. But no, it's in there's this one. I mean, I've had one point where I had someone on that this person didn't agree with, and there were certain things that this person had done that I didn't agree with either. But that's neither here nor there. They weren't done to me, and so the complaint was against that person, and they just decided to they on someone else's channel decided to abuse their mod powers, and for a short period of time blocked me off that off on someone else's channel. Obviously, it was cleared up and I got back on, but they decided to use it, and I'm just like, what kind of person would make me want to trust you at all? And at this point, after this point, because you misuse powers given to you by someone else on their channel. Like that doesn't make sense to me. You have an issue, sure, fine, but you use your powers on someone else's channel to recompense on me.
Mm.
That doesn't make sense. That doesn't make you look like an adult or a smart person you wish to be perceived as. That makes you look like an idiot and a child,
Mm.
and not an idiot savant. So there's a difference. But like I
I
said,
found that the more that you resonate with people, the more support you gain, the more likely you will gain opposition. Even if you gain the support of hundreds of thousands,
mm,
just as a best case scenario, 99% of people support you. So if you have 100,000 subscribers, you will
mm,
have 1,000 people who don't like you. Now,
yeah,
that's something we can't accurately measure because some creators have barely any criticism and others have just as much opponents as they have supporters. So there
right,
is quite the dynamic there. What I can tell you, though, that there is a pattern. The
mm,
more support you gain, especially if you're controversial, the more opposition you will gain. I mean, look at myself, for example, Dara.
yeah,
I am a regular on a prominent panel show, and I might be blooper. See, look, I do that,
yeah,
and I might be a regular on another prominent show.
right,
For some, and when I say prominent, you're talking high established, low prominent,
mm,
around 80 to 110,000 subscribers
right,
channels, around that figure. And, for a channel that only has the support of just over 3,500 subscribers, that's like a big promotion. That's
mm,
like a prominent creator at
mm,
100K plus subs on YouTube getting invited to a panel show where the person has a channel in the millions of subscribers that's not just a video channel. It's a
mm,
video channel and a live streaming channel, which is
yeah,
very rare, but they
yeah,
do happen. And a lot of people who are more well known than me, they they get annoyed by that
mm,
because they have more support. They should have more coverage or clout or reputation, but they don't.
mm,
Because this isn't just facts and figures. This isn't just done by the numbers. Personality drives a lot of what we do. Now, ideally, that personality is open, honest, and transparent. But
mm,
I know of fellow creators who are characters in front of the camera and are very shy behind the scenes.
right,
You can do that if you want to do that. If
mm,
it's sustainable for you, then best of luck to you. But usually it isn't,
yeah,
because the truth will always shine like the sun shines in the sky.
mm,
And to me, looking at it, the reason why I resonate with so many of my fellow creators is because I understand not only them, but the
Mhm,
nature of what we do, which I think is absolutely important. It's
mhm,
as important as charting the unknown depths of the ocean or the stars in the sky, that
mhm.
sort of thing.
Yeah, and there's still plenty of ocean left to view, unfortunately. But yeah, it's one of those things where I mean, even I'm not, controversial by any measure, but I've probably talked to people who can be controversial to some degree. I mean, that's the whole shebang of just getting to talk to people, creator or not. Um, but I think the problem of it is it becomes another social media. You're just looking at X alone, right? You could look at X alone and see all this stuff, but it becomes another social media pinpoint that doesn't change very much from the days of what is considered high school in that regard, right? Like I don't know what the UK version of high school is, but in America,
We
like,
have we have primary school year 1 to year 6, so that's 4 to 11. We
mm,
got secondary school 11 to 16, college
mm,
16 to 18, university 18 plus.
mm,
So yeah, it's understandable because in school, no matter
mm,
the kind of school,
yeah,
that's where most people socialize.
yeah,
And folks, adults are just older children. The whole concept of maturity was supposed to be to separate and differentiate
mm,
children and from teenagers and teenagers from adults. But
mm,
deep down, we all try our best to grow up,
mm,
and some of it needs it beaten into. But
mm.
for the most part, we are all just old children who
But you,
learn by education, or learn by their own experiences, or learn by the experiences of others, which
mm,
I try to do. It's been a great influence on my creative journey. And then, if we got enough, support,
mm,
we very old children, grown up to be adults, make more children who
mm,
then go through the same process in the coil of history.
yeah. You could do an David Attenborough with that right there,
Mm.
with the
Well, he is on
scourge.
the verge of death, so I might have a chance.
There you go, with the scourge of history.
Mm.
Wait, he does the nature stuff. Never mind.
Well, it's a good job he's not a naturist, otherwise he'd be in the nude.
Oh, oh, oh,
Like seeing Master Oogway without his shell.
oh. Well, I mean, the turtle thing would be all right, but seeing an old man, oh, 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 no, 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 that's not gonna work.
Hey, you'll be an old man soon.
We are all old men who feel young at times, but not really. But yeah, you're not wrong. There are people who are in their 60s who are kids at heart. But it just kind of goes to show, like, if you're not creating problems, if you're not creating swords across for like yourself, then
Mm.
you really would think on a logical level that'd be no issue. But there's so many different pinpoints and there's so many different stuff. It's just on a psychological level that just
It's it always starts off, Dara. It always starts off with the little things, and then
mm,
it builds up and up and up and up. Say, for example, if a creator talks too much on a panel show,
yeah.
that's a little thing, grinds other creators' gears because they want to speak their mind. And
Mm,
that can just snowball to a creator being like, this guy, this tangent king, as the
mm,
bigot verse likes to call him, this tangent king, I'm not going to bring him on my show. He's just going to dominate the fucking conversation, that sort of thing. Another example, it could be even as odd as
mm,
camera angles. People could
mm,
look at Dara's camera angle and be like, that looks weird. That doesn't conform with what I think. And that's
mm.
just a little thing. And those little things add up, like all the little problems in Starfield. It adds up to making it an average game.
Right. Yeah, no, and that's an statement in itself right there. And Abe says he thinks you're 15, almost 15 years older than you. So
I'm
there you go.
25.
Well, Abe, you
You
got your
laugh,
answer.
you laugh at that, but it's true. I'm 25.
I'm just laughing at what Abe was trying to say. I'm like, it was like, did Abe not know at all? I'm pretty sure he's seen your show at least some form or another.
Hmm.
Goodness. So the way he moves around to other people's shows is intense. Um, But yeah, I mean, again, it's just, be cautious. If you want to get into this thing, be mindful of why you're doing it in the first place. Don't do it because you want to be famous like I Show Speed, or, well, I mean, that's a given, but don't do it. Don't do it for the silly reasons. Do it for a true and genuine reason, because I'm telling you what, if you forget your true and genuine reason of why you do any of this stuff,
Mm.
I mean, at a certain point, you can be just a sellout to your own self, and then what then, right?
You don't, folks. You don't want to be famous. You don't want
No.
to be famous because fame and even fame and fortune can bring its own kind of misery.
Mhm.
Okay, when you're someone who has the support of hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people,
Yeah.
that is going to get to you no matter how much money you make,
Mhm.
no matter how many invitations you get to things.
Yeah.
When the eyes of millions are on you, that
Mhm.
is going to cause a pressure that will either cause you to shine or break. And I
Yeah.
don't think a lot of people can handle it. And that's why we see many instances of creators going nuts. Look at Sungran Studios, man.
Mhm.
He's certifiable. He should be locked up in an asylum for the downward spiral he is going through. Rebranding as a gospel music channel from a games developer channel, and
Gee.
then when he's called out for it in the middle of Smash's show, which I was on, he
Mhm.
then quickly course corrects because he
Mhm.
was watching, and we laugh at him.
Yeah. Do you still get reminiscence of people doing the spear trucker thing?
Ah, it's a legacy thing now.
Mhm.
I have it as an emoji. It's still there. Speargate is still talked about to
Yeah.
this day, alongside Gunagate and Kneegate and
Mhm.
all sorts of bloody gates. To me,
Mhm.
looking back on it, wouldn't have changed a damn thing. Although I would argue Speargate was the start of a snowball
Mhm.
to Goonagate 1 and 2, because
Yeah.
one was before Christmas, the other was after it.
Uh,
Then Kneegate with Smash getting. It's always Smash. Lots of people going after Smash JT now. I've made a playlist series, Dara, called Smash JT Versus.
yeah.
Got, of course, Mercante going after him. You
Mhm.
had Sungran Studios going after him. You
Mhm.
had Melanie Mac, The Quartering, Razor Fist,
Really?
JDA, JFT,
Mhm.
Yorch Torch, all sorts of people. You can make a purpose built series of Smash JT versus. Yet he keeps on going, he keeps on growing,
Mhm.
because at heart, he is a great, grounded guy with an
Mhm.
awesome family
Mhm.
living the American dream despite living in Southern California. How
Uh,
he manages to do it without going batshit crazy,
yep.
I do not know.
That's the tricky part being in California. Melanie Mack, I wouldn't have thought someone would go up against that, because she does have her followers, of
Mm.
course. But yeah, I once made the comment that she seems like she's a bit like the Westboro Baptist Church used to be, right? Back in the
Mm.
day where they'd be out in the '90s holding their sign saying,
Mhm.
God doesn't love, the word she uses and all that.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and it's just an outside appearance though, but you know what?
She did recently cut her hair with a pair of scissors, in front of a camera. That's never a good sign. But I will say, as someone who is a radical,
Yeah.
as someone who, if you want to get it done,
Mm,
you get it done good and proper.
yeah.
Who doesn't want to reform the institutions? Just batter them down and start again.
Mm,
I'm thinking to myself, these types of people who go after Smash just undermine the radical cause and
mm,
cause the reformers to get what they want, which is
mm,
to reform things, to reform pop culture, to reform the political realm,
mm,
oh, we can fix them. We can fix the institute. Fuck, we can fix the institutions. They
yeah.
got to be battered down. New ones have got to be built by the people themselves.
Mhm,
So, to those people who go after Smash, all you're doing is undermining your own perspective.
mhm. Yeah, it does seem to be one of those things where people, well, and there's a right there, there's a case where people, either try to clarify or defend themselves. There's that thing too, but there's a point where it's like people have a tendency not to let go. and I think that's what causes the realm of drama to me. Like drama this, drama that. I'm also listening.
Because
There you go.
I It's because I know plenty of creators who are moderate reformers who want to make pop culture great again by reforming it, and
Mm,
they look at examples of films like that Thunderbolts movie that's
mm,
not dog shit and say, it's healing, it's getting better, the MCU is healing, and I'm thinking to myself, are you people for real?
mm,
We've had half a decade of the MCU shitting all over us, and as soon as you see a half decent Marvel movie, you're
mm,
like, oh, this could be the start of something greater. No, it won't. It
mm,
won't. Because it's the same rotten institutions.
mm. It'd most be like taking things case by case because
Mm,
you'd want to see something to get better, but they keep throwing out flops that just make you wonder if they even care at all. Which is also another thing too, right? Like the Star Wars stuff. Right? I
mm,
know a lot of people talk about the Star Wars stuff, and it's funny enough when you have a lot of people saying Star Wars is dead, and yet it doesn't leave their lips. So
mm.
there's that right there.
And
Um,
even if it did fix itself, as the Chinese say, voila, too late, man.
I don't know if the Chinese say that.
It's like if I beat the shit out of you constantly, day after day, for how long has it been? 6 years since
Mm,
Rise of Skywalker, and it's like I'm gonna stop beating you now and treating you with respect. Would you be like, oh yeah, all's forgiven, man? Yeah, let's be friends again. Yeah, no,
mm.
of course not.
Just like the old saying, sometimes you gotta stop beating that dead horse because there ain't nothing left. Um, yeah, man, I get that. I mean, again, there's some movies I've seen. I went to go see the Thunderbolt one, and I thought it was all right. It wasn't really like something to cheer in the streets about, but it was all right. Um, I just thought it was weird they call them the new Avengers. I'm like, I don't think that'll work. I don't think once you've already set the pace with like the first set of Avengers, you really can't change that because hey, Kismet, what's going on? Hope you're doing well. You really can't. Hey, Tomby, how you doing? There's the gentleman in arms. So you
Mm,
got the tech wizard. Um, but it's sort of like you've already set the stage with, Iron Man and all that stuff. And of course, we know they're human beings, but I think it was towards the point of where their contracts had ran out. I think at least it was like at Endgame where like they didn't want to do it anymore. Chris
mm.
Evans and Robert Downey Jr. But at the end of it, though, it's really hard to kind of rewind that clock and say, "Oh, we're going to give you a new set of Avengers." I'm like, but it's just not what people are used to. You'd have to give it like 10 years before people are like, "Okay, so what else you got?" Because it just doesn't work, or doesn't feel like it works.
That's why we call it Disney Marvel, folks. That's why the market value of Disney has halved in 4 years from like 350 billion US dollars to
Mhm.
175 billion.
Oh,
And if
look
it
at that.
keeps bleeding out like that, then
Mm,
the company's not going to last for much longer.
mm,
These companies are destroying themselves pushing this agenda,
mm,
and I think you'll see which way people go
mhm.
depending on two factors.
Yeah.
One is if pop culture is made great again by the institutions themselves,
Mm,
the Disneys, the Paramounts, the Warner Brothers, all those companies, for the
mm.
sake of their own survival.
Right.
And that's the first factor, if that happens, because there is a scenario where that doesn't happen. But if
Mm,
that happens, you'll see a split between those creators who have led the way for years, between those who will say, yeah, that's fantastic, we're going to get great entertainment again,
mm.
and those creators being like, too little, too late, die, basically.
Yeah.
And that's where you will see a split, and that will be what really separates the wheat from the chaff, because I don't think Disney has the right to exist anymore, and you can quote me on that. Because when you have failure after failure after failure after
Mm,
failure, if you're an empire of failure over an era, you do not deserve to exist. And great
mhm.
to see you too.
Yeah, and I can understand it because I mean Disney's been around since what early seven like late 50s or early 60s something like that.
Oh, they've been around for over 100 years.
Seriously, I thought well
Yeah.
not no that'd be the 100 years would put them at the 20s. They were Walt Disney wasn't even
Well,
old
no,
yet.
well, Disney celebrated their 100th anniversary a few years ago.
Interesting. That
Mm,
shows you how long it's been that I've been there. But I
mm,
mean, but again, then you have the whole thing with Epic Verse, right? Like the whole,
yep.
was it Universal Studios? I think it is. Yeah, Universal Studios, and all this stuff they're doing with Mario, with the Dragon, How to Tame Your Dragon, and then of course like the old horror, Wolfman,
Mm.
Dracula, all that stuff. You're seeing this new thing come forth, and Walt Disney itself is just not able to change itself to be more attractive because it's been there for a while. People know the will of it and all that stuff, but now you have something like Epiverse, which used to be the what was it called? The Adventure Island, right? It used to be Adventure Island, and then you had the Harry Potter stuff come along. And now you're having this whole change with like the Taming Dragons, all this sort of stuff. Epicverse is just going to kill it for quite some time, and Disney is just gonna lose its ability to at least be look good to go to because Epiverse will have all the Flash, it will have Nintendo stuff, it will have Tame the Dragon stuff, it will have all these nice flashy things that you will be able to take your kids to, and it's this a connected universe thing basically.
That's because Universal is, for the most part, a much more dynamic company than Disney. And if you're 100 years old, I don't expect you to fire on all cylinders. In fact, I don't expect you to be alive for the most part. And the same can apply to a company like that has
Mhm.
gotten so big it has to fail.
Yeah,
Because all things that get too big have to fail. Because if they carry on, they cause more destruction.
yeah. And as Akagoma mentioned, Disney used to be the bomb until they blew up a mushroom and cloud of crap. That I think that was someone put a smoke bomb in the bathroom,
Hmm.
so that might have been
Let's put it this way, folks, quite clearly. If you lost your company $175 billion, what would happen to you?
usually the point of the matter is that you would be sort of fired, but nowadays you just get moved up to like, how the Peter principle is. You fail so
Yeah,
much.
yeah, you get fired out of a cannon into space. You
Uh,
lose that much money. My goodness. But Disney is like the easiest example
mhm,
of this, which is why those who hold out hope for it, they,
mhm,
they they'd stand a better chance sticking a gun in their mouth, shooting themselves, and
mhm,
expecting themselves to live. They have a
mhm,
better chance of surviving mentally
mhm.
than Disney course correcting, in my view.
Yeah, because it would take too long, right? Because there's committees, there's money, there's all the stuff that has to be involved for them to course correct. And
Hmm.
Epicverse is already up and running and is on that path. So it's got that fresh. So it's sort of like that thing that's got that fresh coat of paint. It's new. People like new stuff. It's not been there for a while. But at a certain point, Disney is having a bit of a fit with itself, especially with all the I think I don't know if the Gina Carano thing's still going on, because that was one of the things that was working against them as well. Um,
Mhm.
not sure if malicious vandalism or Disney reboot. Oh wait, same thing.
I am in favor of independent projects of
Yeah,
creators having a good time doing what they enjoy doing. They
yeah,
want to do like indie movies or short productions. The Epic Verse is a great example of them doing that. The biggest problem is for the people, even for prominent creators, is building institutions is not easy. It usually requires collective action
mm,
to build an institution, which
yeah,
is why you have countries and states, most of them forged in fire. I mean,
yeah,
the two greatest examples would be the US founding under the American Revolution and
mm,
the founding of the USSR, of the
mm,
Soviet Union, through the Russian Civil War.
mm.
Because, you know, maybe not for us, Dara, because we're young, but
Eh, eh,
certainly for our parents and their parents, the
mm,
USA and the USSR were the two. states that contested one another, and
Mhm.
they had completely separate institutions, completely separate perspectives of doing things.
Yeah.
And for a while, until especially the late 80s,
Mm.
for a while, it was hard for folks in the world to figure out which one was the correct one. I mean,
Mm.
by the late 70s, half of the fucking world was under the hammer and the sickle,
Yeah.
under communist regimes. But
Mm.
today, the landscape has completely changed.
Mm.
Barely any of them left.
Mm.
Only one that could be a big problem. But the problem today isn't political,
Mm.
it's cultural.
Mm.
That's why the culture war is such a hot topic, as it
Mm.
were, because we may have dealt with the opposition during the Cold War,
Mm.
but now they've infected our countries. And how do we get them out? How do we get the infestation out of our own body? It's
Mm.
like fighting someone,
Mm.
killing them,
Mm.
and then their blood infects you.
Mm.
That sort of thing.
Ew.
I know it's a weird, odd allegory, but that is the only thing that can square that circle.
Mhm.
The West destroyed the Soviet Union, and somehow the ideology infected our own countries after the fact.
Mhm. It almost goes to show you it's not I wouldn't say it's a good idea, but it almost goes to show you how powerful an idea can be and how long it can last. I mean, look, it's China now mostly. You could say China and Russia, but more China than anything else.
Mm.
You kids these days, don't you give me that old man with a beard. Don't you give me that.
I
Um,
would love the world to be a simpler place, where it was West versus East, where it
mm,
was capitalism versus communism. Because nowadays, everyone's fucking everywhere. These
mm,
days, you got nationalist Russia working with communist China,
mm,
working with, Hindu India. It's like these countries couldn't be further apart
mm,
ideologically, but they work together, collaborate with one another so that they don't get isolated and wiped out. At least during the Cold War or the Second World War, or
mm,
even go to the First World War, you knew where the lines were drawn and you
mm.
knew who you were fighting.
Yeah, it's a kaleidoscope now of
Mm.
who's what at this point.
And
Because
it's in our entertainment now, Dara. It's insidious. It's been in there for years, and I'm of the perspective of just burn it all down. That's like during the Great Fire of London, when a bakery just went alight and burnt the whole city down, and the consequence was everyone lost everything, but there was no more plague.
there you go. That's how you got rid of the rats. It's an absolute yep. Certainly is for many people, especially for a ton of people who make content and that sort of thing. Um, but anyway, it is the top of the hour, good sir. And so, of course, I don't know if you remember what happened last time, but we do self promote ourselves, obviously, because you're such a strong marketer of your stuff. I'll let you do your thing. But then we'll probably go for a little while because I know it's getting late where you are, so I don't want to keep you here too long.
That's all right. It's perfectly fine.
Mm.
May has been a fantastic week for me. Week?
No?
Yeah, it has been a week. Yeah, it's a good job we're a week into May. Otherwise, I would have been another blooper.
There
But
you
May
go.
has been a fantastic month for
Mm.
me so far. Folks, you can check me out over at Ryan Roger Athay. I'm the host and founder of Reality Based. I'm mostly active on YouTube and X,
Mm.
primarily. But I
Mm.
do have a Rumble backup. I do have a Odyssey backup. I do have a Kick backup that I've just put on a shelf in
Mm.
case I need to do like streams on Kick
Mm.
and that sort of thing. I appreciate everyone's support. Who the fuck's gonna pretend to be this? One of a kind. All right. If I sound too moderate, then people will be like, "That's not him." But if I
Mm.
sound too radical, it's like that would also not be him because he's
Yeah.
quite reserved by nature on social media.
Mm.
But yeah, I've recently passed 3,500 subscribers. I was on Smash JT's Friday night and Saturday night Smashcast recently. Hopefully, I can pop back in because he's
Mm.
always looking for people to bounce back and forth.
Hmm.
And of course, I'm I'm on Hypnotic Saturday Night Hypnosis every
Yeah.
Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern. So it's nice to have connections with very
Mm,
talented people, despite the fact that I am not really talented. I'm just very committed, very loyal,
mm,
not very capable, but I want more. I want more people to do what we do, and I want to encapsulate that anyone can do this.
mm.
Anyone.
Yeah. Well, especially with technology getting better and better, so there's that too.
Mhm.
But yes, his links are down below on both ends. So if you want to check him out and if he's worth the follow, why not, right? Because he does has his own stuff, and again, he's on multiple other people's streams as well. So he gets around, but in the best way, not in the worst way. That's a different story altogether. That's when you know you're not really doing creating content. You are the content. Um, but anyway, but yes, his links are both on Rumble and YouTube on either end. And of course, from my end of things, whether you're on the Rumble side or YouTube side, doesn't really matter. What matters is if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, sharing the content, leaving a comment or follow, anything that helps with the engagement factor is much appreciated because at the end of the day, not only does it help being seen more, like all content creators want to be. Of course, Ryan Roger here wants to be seen by lots of people.
Oh,
It
yeah.
also helps in it also helps in having other people on like Ryan Roger, like Tomby, like Abe, like Nina, like so many other people. At the end of the day, I don't do this thing just to get like this whole creator sphere thing. I talk to just about everyone. Basically, I've talked to people who are current or former military. I've talked to VTubers. I've talked to people who don't even create content. I've talked to a whole assortment of people, and I'm looking forward to talking more. Again, I've gotten over 200 various guests. Some have blocked me, but that's only two of sparse few. So yeah, but
You've had any
regardless,
black guests yet?
um, I've had Hispanics, but black, not sure.
Ah, that doesn't count. Like, isn't Hispanics are white? Okay, they don't
Short
count.
white.
Let me
They
let
were
me
sort
have
of
a
white.
yeah. Let me have a look at your guest list. Oh, I'm noticing a pattern, ladies and gentlemen. Dar Dara doesn't have any I, doesn't have any black guests.
No, no, that's
I was
not
gonna
true.
say
That's not true. I've had Mugen Lord on. I've had Mugen Lord on, and I've had Abomination AJ.
that man Mugen Lord is so black he might as well be white. He's one of those kinds of ones like Millie Vanilli. Like,
He's a great dude though. He's creating his own
oh,
stuff with Venus.
you've had yep, he is. You've
Yeah,
had Sonia Lisette on, and she's kind of brown. But
yeah,
yeah,
she's
so
good.
many great people here. So many great people.
Yeah,
And
some.
you can cut these you could cut these up, Dara,
Mm,
and have like 10, 15-minute segments
mm.
and just out videos, man,
I've tried to do
and
shorts. It's been more of a hassle because I have a full time job too. So that's kind
mm,
of part of the ordeal. I try to make shorts. I did for a while, but it usually takes up a substantial amount of time just to get a few out because you want to try to make it look right. There are a bunch of people out there that just use a program and they put it out there. They'll take whatever the title is given to them because there's AI short clips maker right now. They'll take whatever the thing is given to them, but you'll notice that when you look at their shorts, you could see other people in their screens because they haven't really done that part. And I'm just like, you don't care, you just want to get it out there. I'm just like, I can see the person next to you in your screen.
it's just that from my own perspective, that's why we have timestamps, not
Mm,
just of my own show, but on Will of the Fans' show,
mm,
because he doesn't have enough time to make videos from his own shows, unfortunately.
yeah.
And it has been fantastic. It's been fantastic just getting perspectives out there, and the more perspectives we have, the better. I think the thing I find annoying
Mm,
personally is the fact that we have 3 panel shows with
mm,
3 separate regulars, which means 3 separate guest lists in a week. Per
mm,
week, I got to do a Dustborn stream, which is driving me nuts, and
mm,
I've got a few more streams to do there,
mm,
and then get that out of the way, and then I can have 1-to-1 panel shows with new guests, because the pipeline's been dry
Yeah.
recently, and if that pipeline isn't lubricated properly, it will just
Mm,
rust and shit itself and destroy itself. Because
yeah.
without that pipeline of new creators, then without the fresh blood, you're gonna get pale and stale.
Well, yeah, and I also know a lot of people burn themselves out too on just trying to come up with something new. But I think in that regard, I mean, again, I'm not gonna, I'm far be it from me to be any some great content creator or whatever. I probably, if I were looked at by a professional, they just laugh. But the point of the matter is, I don't give a rat's behind because I enjoyed getting to talk to a whole bunch of people, and getting beyond the scope of what's out there already, at least in the try to. Like, I mean, when I did this, I was doing like gaming or whatever. I was trying to do all that stuff, but I don't really see a lot of content creators just reach out beyond their scope of other creators, which is mostly what other content creators do. You bring on other content creators or new upcoming creators. That's fine. Create the content you want. I'm not here to tell you what to create. I'm just here to tell you my perspective of how I came to this point. Because a lot of people have 10,000, 20,000, even 100,000 views, and they've got so many people they could ask to come on, and it's just they don't sometimes. And there's a risk to it. I'm not throwing that out there. There is a risk to what I do, but I'm willing to take that risk because there's just so many people and so little time to talk to them.
Oh
It's
yeah.
it's ridiculous. But it's a good ridiculous because you want that ability of connectability, right? We have this technology. You're over in the UK, I'm over in the US, and like we're at like seconds, like milliseconds of just communicating with each other and all that stuff. And yeah, sure, the technology gets used for bad, obviously. I mean, no technology is not without, but we're using this technology that allows us to connect across the way, and it's fantastic. It's wonderful. And I've talked to people from Australia. I've talked to people from, I talked to somebody from Norway. I've talked to some people from Alaska. That's part of the states, but still, it's pretty far. Um,
Yeah.
Whole bunch of stuff. I talked to DJ Smooth. I've talked to Clifton 3D. I've talked to people who are German or Hanayama sama who's German Japanese, which makes sense to some degree. Yeah.
Is he living in fucking Italy? Because if he is, oh god damn that. Man, I was
That's a
like, I know a creator who is Italian,
mm,
but moved to Germany when he was young.
yeah.
I was thinking to myself, if this guy moves to Japan, that's the ultimate red flag. But no, he ended up moving to America. But
There you go. There
yeah,
you go.
there's so many. I don't know if that's better or worse, but there are
Yeah.
so many, ups and downs in doing what we do. I just appreciate all the support I have obtained
Mm,
just by doing what I do,
mm,
quantity based content creation. And the only way is up. If you
mm,
think about it, the more you put into this, the more you will get out. It's
mm,
not easy. I
mm,
remember the days when I gained like 30, 40 subs in 3 months. And that
mm,
was back when we were really starting out. But the more you grow, the easier it is for you to grow.
mm,
We all find our level. We all eventually plateau,
mm,
but there is a danger to growing too quickly. Sun
mm,
Grand Studios is a great example,
mm.
and now he's nuts, and his channel lost 8,000 subs in 3 weeks. Okay,
Yeah, it's always those ones that kind of go off deep end instead of, because I don't know. Again, the lot of the pop culture stuff I don't talk too much about because they already got enough content creators. I could go wherever. Because I know last time I had it on here we were discussing the difference between my unscriptedness versus your, well, not your versus, but more like my unscriptedness per se your scriptedness, because you are very script oriented. You have all your topics that you want to talk about, so forth and so on. And I'm more of like, let's just clear the table and see where it goes. Like a D&D. You get a few outlines and then you're free to go wherever. Just remember that 20 is important. So, don't throw it at anyone. Just throw it at the table. Just roll it.
I personally can't believe how much support that I've gained
Mhm,
just through doing what I I do. I mean, the quickest I've ever made, like one of those topical videos, is 19 minutes.
Mm,
Okay, it may get, a few handfuls of views in the first day, but it might hit the algorithm and get a few hundred views. You never know. And
yeah.
that's the approach I am taking, for better or for worse. Of course, having the recommendations of many fellow creators, especially
Mm,
the prominent ones, does help in terms of a reputational boost.
yeah.
But I'm happy to be the lone radical, putting the bigot in the bigot verse
Mm.
while everyone's gooning. Everyone's gooning, Dar. Everyone's like, ooh, AI titties. Ooh, look, boobs. And I'm like, ugh.
Oh, you're talking about Toasty then, aren't you?
Yeah, yes, Toasty. Me and Toasty couldn't be anywhere near different, but
Yeah.
she's a regular on the old white road. I'm on her shows every now and again when I can make it.
Mm,
Her team up with John, Problematic John, has
mm,
been fantastic for her, and I'm
mm,
the one who made that possible so
yeah.
that John can, produce, because that's what he's great at doing,
Mm,
and then he can have more time because he and Toasty be on one show instead of 3 shows a week,
yeah.
and then do it that way. So we have 3 sustainable bubbles instead of one big bubble that'll blow up and then everyone kills each other,
Mm.
which we've seen among creators, folks. And to me, look, Goon Room, look, Mikey Doucette, all
Yeah.
right, gooning is all well and good until you reach the territory where the fucking zealots have a point, where
Mm,
that's all it's about.
mm.
Okay, all Toasty does is shake 'em, shake 'em, shake 'em. She's doing it now with Sonia Lisette. They've just gone live. Shake 'em, shake 'em, shake 'em. And that's all
Wow.
the show is about. That's like if I did a whole show being like
Mm,
spear chucker, spear chucker, spear chucker, spear chucker, or if I just
mm,
shouted obscenities, okay,
mm.
just as a show. One dimensional things never work. And stop calling me gay. It's not true.
I was trying to look for it too. It's like, wait a second, they went live. Holy crap! Oh my goodness! But again, they are gays. Well, hey, calm it down there. All right, I would watch that.
I'd
I
rather
probably.
be gay than Jewish. There's your controversial
Oh.
statement. There's your controversial statement for today's
and
show.
and brought to you by the letter J for Jew. I get
Hey,
turned
look,
into.
look, Smash JT. He has betrayed our principles. He is now socialist Jew teller. He's woke.
What is it? What is even what is a Jew teller? That's sort of like saying it's like a bank teller, except it's for Jews. That doesn't make any sense. I-
You're woke for undermining my point. You are in league with socialist Jew teller.
well, and there's another thing too with the content creator spheres. There's more of a herd a herd mentality than people I think realize. But then again, you don't have to be a content creator for that. It's tribalism at the end of the day. Abe says, "Hold on, I thought Jays were all gay."
No, not all of them. Just isolated ones. They gotta have D's in them.
That's
Okay?
true.
If J's are gay, they gotta have D's in them.
Oh, by the way, I know it's been a while, but have you ever got any news of the guy you used to have on before, Dobby?
Oh, he's dead.
Oh wow, when did you
Yeah, he
find out?
died. Terminal cancer. Yeah. And that's why the channel got purged. Mm.
Mm. Oh, okay, yeah, because I remember that was quite of a quiet point for a while,
Mm.
and you weren't sure what happened, but I mean, it was kind of apparent he was.
Me and the problematic white guy John
Mm.
did a bit of digging, and yeah, Dobby ended up passing away, terminal cancer. Yeah.
What day or what was it, like a few years ago or no?
Oh no no no! I found out just after I exited SNH,
Mm.
an SNH show, because that's how I found out Dobby disappeared, and
Mm.
yeah, we found out a few days later that he died,
Kick the
terminal
bucket.
cancer.
Wow, it's not a fun thing, especially if you have family members. Certainly, have had a family member of my family who passed away from cancer, and long battle with it, unfortunately. And there were just times it was in remission and wasn't in remission, and went back and forth. But at the end of the day, it's not. Yeah, it's a fair statement. It's a reasonable statement to make, Gabe. It's one of those things because I remember. I think the first time I came on your show was he was your
Mhm.
guest host, and
Yes.
yeah, and he was it was sort of like the punching bag, really. But I mean, at the end of the
Mm,
point, he was still your guest host, and
exactly. Well, I'll tell you this. Another thing for the record: I'd
mm,
rather die of terminal cancer than be a trans. Tell you
at,
that.
at a certain point, they're pretty much the same.
Yeah. Mhm.
But yeah, so that's kind of what you playing about gooning. So I just assume like you like.
You know, I make black creators so uncomfortable that unless they want to be on a show, they won't be on a show with me.
What?
Okay. Yeah, I make Atreus that uncomfortable, man. He's like, nah, I don't want to be here. I'd rather bang some hoe than be on Hypno's show. He missed like 3-4 shows in a row, and Hypno is like, dude, you got a regular spot, man.
Mm,
Be here. Because
mm,
Hypno can let many things slide.
yeah,
Of course, I'm still there,
yeah.
despite nearly blowing up the channel. Because Hypno values loyalty above all else.
Right.
He does.
Yeah.
But more than talent, more than capability, more than celebrity, he values loyalty. And he will
People.
stick
Yeah.
by you as long as you stick by him.
Yeah.
That is why since my debut on episode 30 of SNH, I have been on SNH every single Saturday
Mm,
for, since episode 30. We're on episode 139 now,
wow.
but there was two episode 113s
Mm,
because the one where I called a black man's game company Spear Chucker Studios isn't on YouTube anymore.
right.
It's still on Rumble if you want me to. Grums was the special guest, only added fuel to the fucking fire.
Wow.
So you can check that out. So that's 140. And there was also a Rumble exclusive show because Hypno got struck, and it wasn't my fault. So,
That's
so
so yeah.
that
That's
takes
yeah.
so that takes it to officially it's 139, but actually it's 141. So
Mm,
I have been on SNH 111 episodes in a row.
yeah. That was the whole Alyssa thing, wasn't it? For Hypno when he got kicked off.
Yeah, yeah. He faced he got a strike basically. Hmm.
And those don't go away for I think 30 days. No.
I think 90 days.
90
90
days.
days.
'Cause that's right. So he has to be very cautious if he wants to. Or no, you have up to the third one. You get a warning first, as I understand. You get a warning first, then your first strike, and then you get two more strikes after that, and then your account is gone for good.
Well, I'll tell you this, Dara. Hypno is being so cautious. I couldn't even say fucking midget when Yellow Flash was on. I couldn't believe it. Can't say midget. Damn, man. Hypno's
Small,
woke. He's gone
small
woke.
people. Yeah.
Gone woke.
You never see his face. That's why he's woke. There's nobody there.
Can't say midget. Can't
I
call a spade a spade. You can't call a black man a spear chucker. It's fucking insane.
Well, and the funny thing is that there was if there was the show MASH back in the 70s, and they did have a character who was black who was codenamed Spear Checker. It's
Hmm.
a real thing. Like they did take him out. Obviously, it was like the first season he was there, and then after that they took him out. But there was a guy who was called Spear Checker in MASH in the first season. So I can specifically say in MASH there was a guy named Spear Checker, and they did take it out. So
Hmm.
YouTube, you can't take out historical context. So there you go. But yeah, it was just funny because it was an actual black guy who was called Spear Checker. So that or code name Spear Checker. I don't know if
Hmm.
they said his actual name or not, but they give names like Hawkeye or uh, what was the Trapper? Trapper was another one, but it is what it is. But yeah, it's sort of
If I gave them a code name, it would be Code Black.
because you can't see him, right?
Hmm.
or at least you can't see him at night. Um, but yeah, again, it's one of those things where like you know YouTube is very draconious in its ruling. It's very draconious, and yet, unfortunately for many, it's the only place they'd rather be because where else are they going to go, right? They can go to Twitch, but Twitch has its own issues with hot tub streamers and all that stuff.
Look, there are plenty of alternatives. There's Rumble. Hey, look, Kick is a great platform if you ignore the fact that they sell gambling to children. Of course, I said before, there's Rumble. There's other sites as well, Odyssey. There are
Mhm,
plenty of alternatives, folks.
mhm,
It's just you gotta understand.
mhm,
You don't want to be famous. You really don't.
mhm,
People think they want the fame and the fortune.
mhm.
Believe me, you don't want it. You really don't. Because a
Well,
lot of those famous people,
mhm.
deep down, they would just want to live normal lives.
Well, what do you call what Nerderotic is then? Because he's quite famous now. At least he's been on Pure Morgan. He's been on some other shows as well. I mean, at that point, wouldn't that be considered fame or famous?
Well, yeah, the man has also gone through a deeply personal, grounded story. His life story could be a movie.
Mm,
Because before Nerdrotic, the guy was, for lack of a better term, folks, forgive me for saying this,
mm,
a fuck up. He
yeah.
was. And Nerdrotic, as a channel,
Mm,
was the thing that resurrected him, for lack of a better term,
yeah.
and he's been grateful for it ever since. So yeah, there's a deep traumatic foundation to that
Mm.
that many creators don't have.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's grounded. He's grounded in the manner of, but I mean,
Mm,
he has reached that point of what would be considered famous because he has been on. I think he was on Fox once. I'm pretty sure. The chickens are swimming. Wow, that's rough. I hope it doesn't get too bad there. That's insane. Um, but um, but yeah, but there, yeah, like you said, there's a price to it. I mean, basically, if you haven't already, another one would be all the celebrities and stuff you've seen out there, right? You could look at the histories of Elvis Presley and all this other stuff where celebritism is a downturn, right? I just a while back I watched. I don't know if you care about the individual or not, but I watched that movie Better Man, which is the
mm,
whole Robbie Williams thing. But I mean, you see again and again, whether it be that or Rocket Man with Elton John stuff, you see this thing where people get up to that point of celebritism, and it's just like a kid being let go in a candy store and being said, "Everything is yours. Take whatever you want." And that's just very it's a very unnatural because you are allowing stuff like drugs and alcohol and everything in between to be open for taking, and that destroys a person. I mean, if you haven't seen the people who take just drugs on a regular basis, with fentanyl or whatever, then it's not going to be helpful. But celebrities have shown that being a celebrity is shite.
mm. It's not something most people can deal with, folks,
Mhm,
because only a certain group of people are really cut out for it. The
mhm.
the folks who love the glitz and the glamour and the suit and tie parties, go to events and meetups and things, and end up shagging each other in the hotel rooms because you better believe they fucking do that, even if they don't say it. And you
Mhm.
saw Dermy Worming fiddling with a prostitute in front of a camera.
Right.
Imagine what he's doing behind the scenes. He's
Never.
covered in oil, baby
Oh,
oil, and she's like, let me out of here. It's like, that's so. And I like Dermy. I have a similar body profile to Dermy. I'm just much hairier.
so was Robin Williams. So was Robin Williams. That was a man. You could say he might have escaped a zoo pretty early. Um,
Mm. Went nuts, and that's how he ended up topping himself. I mean, the first great example for me of a creator who, went from nowhere to everywhere, made a name for himself, and eventually topped himself. He's a Twitch streamer, OG Twitch streamer, called Wreckful. Now, here was a guy who had plenty of support, plenty of connections, and he had a great life from the outside looking in, but from the inside looking out, wasn't so much a great life for him, considering he topped himself as Dara has technical difficulties. So yes, this can be an issue. It's sad that it can happen. There is a dark side to content creation. No, that's not a racial statement. That's an actual statement. And to me, looking at this as the nature of content creation, the scourge of internet brain, I say quite clearly, we need to understand how to go far as a rising star, how you can sustain yourself, and how to not go fucking insane doing this. And that's now the primary reason why I study what we do, why we have the Fresh Blood Creator Showcase on Wednesday with System Crash. We have the more laid back Monday show with Tangent Kings, and we have like the main show for the Old White Road, as Dara still has technical problems. I had technical problems during the start of this show. Turns out my camera was my microphone instead of my actual fucking microphone. But yeah, I'm as in Midnight's Edge. I gotta carry the show, man. Gotta carry the show. So like the stream, share the stream, subscribe to Dara. You can check me out. Hopefully, links are in the description down below. And fingers crossed you will enjoy the show on the replay. Alrighty then. Dara, are you back? No, it doesn't look like it. But for me personally, when we look at what's been going on recently, 2025 has been an insane year. And we're nearly halfway through it. But I think as we continue, more and more people are going to make names for themselves, and we're going to see a lot of controversies in the future. And welcome to the reality-based takeover of Dara Mouth. Okay. We still can't hear you, Dara.
I'm here.
Oh,
I'm here.
wait,
Goodness.
wait, we can hear you. We can hear you.
Gosh.
You
was
had
like I pulled my headphone jack out by accident. I tried putting it back in. I couldn't hear anything. So I was like,
I thought you were going to say you pulled your headphones out your ass then.
That would have not been a fun time. That's more of like a self-proposed colonoscopy. Oh, thank you, Neuro. I appreciate that. There you go. There's the and Neuro's a pretty good dude. What was that about? Enable raids on YouTube. I don't know how to enable raids on YouTube. Unfortunately,
it's hard to raid someone when not many people are watching. In all
right.
honesty, that's why when I first started out, folks, I primarily made videos. Wait until we built an audience, and then we started reality based. But to each their own, in regards to their creator journey.
How do you do that? Well, I'd like to know how to do that because I don't know how to do that. Jeez, please. Asking someone to do something they don't know. Yeah, I know, Neuro, I know. But at the end of the day, a lot of people still are going to use it because it's still king of the platforms, unfortunately. Where Kick and Twitch only do clips and streaming, YouTube does all three: shorts, edited video content, and live streaming. And unfortunately, that is the winner for the time being. But yeah, I don't know how to enable that. But anyway, so yeah, that me pulling out it by accident was like, come on. I hate when that happens.
Hey, look, folks, hashtag don't pull out. There's a big population problem, and we need more children. I don't care if they're even mixed race. We need more children at this point. Bang a rice muncher, bang a spear chucker ass. Why are you shaking your head? Are you a racist?
You know what? I'll let you keep going. Just keep doing what you're doing there, Ryan. You're one of
We
the.
need more. We need more people because the population crisis,
uh,
like the population collapsing, is a serious issue, and it's an issue for which there is no one solution. Okay, one solution is connect with people, have a
mm,
good time, and have
mm.
children.
There you go. I can't take it from a better man himself who does all the things based on pop culture.
Even
Uh,
if you have to pay a prostitute, just have children.
I'm.
I know that sounds crazy, but the situation is getting that dire. I mean, in
Mm,
South Korea, the replacement rate, right, for sustainability is
mm,
2. In South Korea, it's 0.6.
Jeez.
That with that, so for every, so when it's 2, right,
Mm,
for every 200 couples, there's 400 kids, right? So when it's 0.5, or rather 1, for example, it's 200 couples and 200 kids. But when it's 0.5, it's
mm.
200 couples, 100 kids.
Jeez.
And then it's 100 kids that goes down to what? Oh, if it's at 1,
Mm,
that's 100 couples, so that's 100. But if it's 0.5, that goes down to 50. So just as quickly as populations went up through the explosion, it'll go down just as quickly through the population collapse.
mm,
So it is very dangerous. The only countries in the world, Dara, that have population above replacement levels are the third world countries. Shitholes.
yeah, exactly. Like Africa and all those places that are just, kind of crappy.
Well,
Uh,
almost exclusively. I think it's almost exclusively sub-Saharan Africa, so
mm,
below the Sahara Africa,
mm.
and Afghanistan. I think that's it.
Yeah, and you can't forget all the Muslim ones too. They're pretty.
Well, no, even in Muslim countries, man, the population is. I mean, all of these countries' population growth figures are going down.
Mm,
Even if they are high, they are trajecting downwards. So this is a problem that we're all facing, and this coincidentally coincides with the world getting more peaceful
mm,
and more prosperous. Even in Muslim countries, when Muslims come over to the West, yeah, they
mm,
bring their backwards ideology and weird religion, but within a few generations, their kids act like Western kids and stop having kids, and their families collapse. That's why
mm,
the borders always have to stay open, Dara. Because if they just came in first wave and just kept doing what they did in their own lands, they
mm,
wouldn't need to keep the fucking borders open. They just outpace us through, breeding, but they don't. There's something deeply poisonous about our civilization
right.
where creating people naturally in our ecosystem just isn't possible. Certainly not encouraged.
Yeah, that's why you see. Start banging everything that moves. Oh dear Lord, don't no, don't do it. Don't do it.
My grandfather, who was a World War One and World War Two veteran, he was a
Mm,
teenager
mm,
in 1914. He faked his age and he got on the front line.
mm,
Boy, did he fucking regret it. And then he was like a middle aged guy in his 40s in the Second World War. All right? He had
mm,
13 kids with the same woman over the span of, I think, 2 decades. My father had 3 kids
mm,
with 3 different women over the span of 4 decades that I know of. And then me, no children.
mm,
So 3 generations in the span of a century,
mm,
from 1900 to 1999, with
mm.
my father being born in 1955.
Right,
That's how much the landscape has shifted. And I
right.
can tell you this, my grandfather, who fought in 2 world wars
Mm,
and was a veteran of both, how he fucking survived, I have no idea,
right.
especially as a teenager on the Western Front living in hell.
Jeez.
But he through trial and tribulation and turmoil, lived through the First World War, lived through the Great Depression, lived through hyperinflation, lived through the Second World War, and lived through the post-war consensus, managed to survive and thrive and have 13 children in like a 2 up, 2 down, for lack of a better term. Especially in the South Wales valleys, all these terrace houses full of people.
Mm-hmm.
And within a few generations, it goes from that to myself. You know, I'm relatively prosperous, but I keep to myself.
Yeah.
I have no incentive to start a family. That's like building a house on top of my head. In terms of like, okay, I have a house on my head now. I'm sure it'll be useful in the long run, but right now, I'm just trying to build a foundation. And that's the problem we have at the West. This digital age is poisonous.
But we also use it to do the thing that you're doing now with all your stuff. It's a two-way. It's a double-edged sword, basically. The double-edged sword is needed use, but it also has it undercarries a different kind of thing that can be ruinous. And again, it's not going to slow down either. It's always that funny thing with, especially with the AI sort of people who dislike the AI art or whatever. It's like
I think that's going to be, Dara, the straw that really breaks the camel's back. I think the rise of the machine, especially the physical hardware, software, especially if they look attractive, that's going to make 0.6 replacement rate look like it's big. Because people will just accept the machine at this point.
Well, yeah, it's easier in some regards. It's easier to deal with something that's not gonna. You have to figure out how to deal with, right? Like you have to deal on the communicative level of, okay, so this person is sad or happy or whatever, or and how you react or act or whatever. The whole shebang of what relationships are, whether they're platonic or not. And the problem of it is that human beings usually like taking the path of least resistance. So what is the path of least resistance? Well, the path of least resistance says that if you are to make a machine who checks all the boxes well enough and all that stuff, then at the end of it, you may have not a whole lot, but you'll have some people who will choose the machine over the human being. And funny enough, there was an anime that was sort of bit like this, but it was not as heavy-handed. It was Chobits, where people would have a persicom, which would be a personal helper. There was one story where one married their thing, but it's a long story to go through. But I mean, you're not wrong. But the people who argue against of trying to tear it down or whatever, they're looking at something understandable, but something in the wrong way, because you're trying to take a silver bell or like a nut or something that everyone sees and they're having fun with. Mid-Journey. Lots of people use Mid-Journey. Mid-Journey's come a long way. Now you can make all this sort of stuff with it. Suno. Lots of people use Suno. You used Suno before. All sorts of stuff, right? These tools are out there. Great. Problem of it is they also have the double-edged sword of being the wrong of it too.
I use Suno just like I use a hammer. Doesn't mean I'll stick it up my ass as a sex object.
I would hope
and
not, dear Lord.
That's the red line, though, folks. When it comes to this sort of thing, the reason why I study history a lot and politics a lot. For me, it was history, politics, law, sociology, all those sorts of subjects, because we can find solutions to the problems of today by looking to the past. And the population problem has been a problem in the West since the 70s. Ever since the baby boom ended, the post-war baby boom from 45 to 64 ended. The population, we've been under replacement levels for 55 years. It's going to have an impact. Immigration has delayed the inevitable. That's why we have open borders, Dara. Because if we didn't have open borders welcoming these fucking locusts into our lands, our populations would already be starting to collapse. and we don't have a solution to the problem. Immigration was like the band-aid solution, because humanity has only ever experienced in, living memory, the population going up, never down. The last time we experienced the population going down by a lot was in medieval times with the Black Death.
Oh yeah.
Literally whole sections of society, like 30%, 40%, 50% of towns and cities dropping dead. And
Yeah.
what did that do? That increased the value of labor and inadvertently took down what we knew as enslavement. Because it's hard to enslave a product that is more valuable, so workers can have rights. Literally, the Black Death was the beginning of the end of serfdom. Yes, it took hundreds of years to make it possible, but when you've got the population that collapses by a half, then you have that supply demand, that sort of thing. In this instance, we don't even take it seriously as a problem, because there's so many other problems we have to deal with. To me, from my point of view, my grandfather on my father's side had 13 children in the span of 20 years after the end of World War II, after going through fucking a hell of a life. World War One, the hyperinflation of the early 20s, the Great Depression of the late 20s and early 30s, the Second World War in the late 30s and early 40s. That literally 30 years of fucking hardship and pain and suffering, and somehow fucking surviving by hook or by crook. And that led to him passing on his legacy to a family of 13, which was considered, not the average, because the average birth rate back then was about 5 to 6. But humans, what the hell is that?
What?
You can hear like a vehicle just passed through your house.
Oh, someone's mowing. There we go.
Oh, there we go. But yeah, I think humanity thrives in turmoil, in adversity, in conflict, in struggle.
Right.
That is why, especially during World War II, you had the Germans especially embodied that mindset that the history of humanity is a struggle. Literally, kill or be killed, the law of nature taken and industrialized. And that's why they were so murderous, because it's either we all die or they all. The law of nature taken to its industrial conclusion, because industry was like the thing back then.
Yeah.
And, that in its extreme, of course, is not good. But none of that, none of the law of nature is causing us to be like the rats in that experiment, where we are peaceful and prosperous, the population peaks, and then we forget about the adversity. We don't have kids. We love ourselves and we want more space, and then the population just collapses and we don't fix it.
Yeah.
That's where we're heading now. And that's why the opposition, they scream, racist, sexist, Nazi, all that stuff, because they can see in more people the eyes are being opened. This is going to destroy us. We don't exactly know what the problem is, but if we stay like this, everyone's going to die without a nuclear bomb going off.
Yeah. I remember that. It's the psychological experiments, like Mouse Verse or something like that. I can't remember.
And the guy made like so many worlds, because he did it more than once, because he wanted to try and find, how do we create a peaceful and prosperous community without it, hitting a peak population and then destroying itself.
Yeah.
And he couldn't find a way.
Yeah. Well, and the thing of it too is that in the experiment, the mice were provided for, so they didn't have to fight for food. They could just the researchers would just give them food, and that was one of the occasions.
Well, I know it's not exactly like that in the Western world, but I dare say in this day and age, it's easier than ever before to make a name for yourself and provide for yourself and provide for others. I know there's lots of problems. There is.
Mhm.
But I'd say, especially thanks to technology, it's a lot
Mhm.
easier now than it was, say, 30 years ago, 50 years ago,
Mhm.
especially for an individual, maybe not
Yeah.
for a business or something.
Mhm.
And that could be the danger, in that insurmountable odds, they separate the wheat from the chaff,
Mhm.
and those who survive and live on repopulate.
Mhm. And then you run through that whole cycle again, which is almost the absurdity of humanity itself, or
And that,
paradox.
yeah, that's why, Dara, but we can't do that anymore because of nuclear weapons,
Mhm.
obviously. Of course, there are still wars that happen and so on and so forth, but
Yeah.
because of the advent of the nuclear weapon,
Mhm.
we can't go through that 30-year cycle of being forged in the fires of conflict and adversity and depression and war, then to have a golden age in which the population get, gets repopulated with
Mhm.
all the people who survived that, because
Mhm.
that is law of nature and that's how people improve. We
Mhm.
can't do that anymore, and we're seeing it. We're seeing it with the food that we eat, the water that we drink, the the entertainment that we watch. It's just poison, and that's why you got some people who are so desperate to
Mhm.
make things right that they will reawaken old ideas that nearly destroyed our institutions to
Mhm.
try and make things right.
Or old diseases, that as well, especially with all the COVID stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, it goes to show that a country or nation made lazy will end up folding in on itself,
Yeah.
and yeah, you're right. You basically wouldn't need even a bioweapon. You would just need to use the psychology of the country against itself,
Yeah.
and you could cause the end
You
of
you
it.
yeah, you want to destroy the United States of America, enemies of America, don't fight it. Leave it
Mm,
alone. Let it
mhm,
get on with it. Let it get on with peacetime, okay? Leave the US to I honestly think a peaceful and prosperous world would destroy the United States of America. I really do.
yeah, but it also the long war of the Iran war would
Mm,
just as much as it destroy out. So you have two ways of look. Well, you at least in the clear view of two ways of looking at it, but there's more ways to look at it. But yeah, there's one way or another. It gets ridiculous.
mm.
Had it been uh, for you to set up. Sorry. There we go. Oh, nope, that's wrong. There we go. But yeah, I do think that people need to be cautious of allowing the toys we create for ourselves, the tools we create for ourselves becoming the absolute, because sooner or later, absolute has been known to destroy. It's like that saying, absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Oh yeah. I personally, Dara, I want to live in a world without nuclear weapons because I think that was the turning point where we can't behave as natural beings, uh, being forged through the fire of conflict and adversity, because
Mm,
now we have weapons capable of destroying our planet.
mm,
That's why you don't see like proper major conventional wars anymore, because if that happened between powerful countries, they just press a button, end the world.
mm,
So yeah, we're in this forced peace. And of course, there's lots of smaller conflicts. I think the biggest is between the Russians and the Ukrainians at the
mm,
moment. But
right,
it's in a sense they're limited conflicts
mm,
and they're regional. And you look at Ukraine; it's
mm,
half of it's empty now. Most of
yeah,
them have just gone abroad. A lot of people nowadays, whether they like it or not, usually for their own survival, obviously,
mm,
first instinct they do is run away. And that we didn't get that, especially with the Second World War. Is like a lot of people, you either fought or you died, except
mhm,
maybe in the US and the mainland because
yeah,
it was very safe there. But it created that mindset. And
mm.
that's the mindset we are severely lacking.
And yeah, definitely worth something to go into. but it's sort of something also that is hard for people to wrap their heads around,
Oh
and
yeah.
that's also the thing that works against it. But
Mhm.
anyway, we are coming up on the next top of the hour, and I think we're going to start winding it down from
Oh.
there. I am going to be doing a wrap up portion, but that's up to people if they'd like to stay or not. I'm part of the Rumble Creator Program, and so
Ooh.
you have to fulfill some certain requirements, but it's not that compared to YouTube's. It's quite less difficult. But
And now for our sponsor, Rumble. With
well,
Rumble, you can do this, that, and the other. Click the link in the description to use Rumble today.
I don't have that as a sponsor. I do have something else though, but we'll go through that a little later. But for right now, we're gonna start on our trend of promoting ourselves and whatnot. And so I will give the floor to the floor for a third time because he did kind of help when I was having issues. So I will give the floor for a third time to the amazing and illustrious Brian Roger.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for watching whatever numbered episode of this show this is. I know Dara doesn't number them, but yeah, number them. As for me, you can check me out over at Ryan Roger Athay, host and founder of Reality Base. Talk about lots of topics of the day as well as topics that I'm interested in,
Mm,
either by myself or as part of an illustrious panel.
mm,
And yeah, Mondays, Tangent Kings, 9 p.m. UK. Not 9 p.m., it's at 8 p.m. for Mondays.
mm,
8 p.m. Oh dear. 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. Eastern, midday Pacific. On Wednesdays and Fridays, it's at 9 p.m. UK,
mm,
which is 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific.
mm,
Wednesday, System Crash. Fridays, The Old White Road, aka Friday Night Whites.
mm.
And for the next few weeks at least, I'll be doing Dustborn streams on Saturdays at 8 p.m. UK, 3 p.m. Eastern, midday Pacific time.
Mm.
So, yeah, busy schedule for me. I cannot wait to finish Dustborn. It's an awful game, but it's led to a lot of donations. Let's just say that. You take the negatives with the positives.
There you go.
Folks, you can gift me games on Steam.
Mm,
You can find the links or the Steam friend thing I have
yeah.
in the description of my videos. I got to put them in the description of my shows,
Mm,
which I haven't done yet. And yeah, gift games. The more the merrier. Gift me
mm.
bad games, especially, so I can play them and be punished
Yeah.
through donations.
And he can punish his friends as well for all the pop-ups that come up from Steam. So they
Well, they haven't popped up recently.
Oh, that's good. That's good. I think they were giving you a break.
Fuckers with their pop-ups and all that jazz.
Oh goodness. But yeah, that's that give him bad games so he can get more super chats or whatever.
Yeah, I say donations personally, but to each their own in that regard.
He wants the monies, he asks for the monies. That's how we'll put it. anyway, his links are down below on both the Rumble side and YouTube side. So if you guys wanna, and thank you for that again as well for Neuro, I appreciate it. But for my end of things, whether in the Rumble side or the YouTube side, it doesn't matter which side you're on. If you wouldn't mind, all right. Well, if you wouldn't mind leaving a like, sharing a comment, leaving a uh, leaving a comment or follow, anything that helps with the engagement factor is much appreciated because at the end of the day, not only does it help in having being seen more by a lot of people, like many content creators want to be, it also helps in having other people on, like Ryan Roger, like Abe. Unlike so many other people, again, I've had over 200 various guests, creator or not, doesn't matter. What matters is coming to the table and having a conversation about whatever. And you just saw 2 hours of that. Crazy, I know, right? It's really seems crazy enough to do. It seems hard enough to do, but it's actually pretty simple. So there's that. But anyway, of course, I have a link down below, and thank you, Noah, for bringing that up. Thank you, Noah, for that. I have a link down below. That'll lead to my Twitter X. That'll lead to my email. That'll lead to my Discord thing, but it's mostly just for DMing. I really don't have a server. I can only handle so much social media. And of course, there's another one too. A while back, so a while back, I know I told you I was in this this creator program for Rumble, but it was actually another program I'm in as well. There was a long time ago. I don't know if you know the company Proton, but a long time ago they had put in a post on Twitter X, and they had stated they were looking to do like a partner program thing. So I decided to just throw my name into the ring to just try, because I doubt I would, because usually those kind of companies are looking for big names and stuff. Well, funny enough, to my surprise, they said yes. And so, and so, um, Neuro, if you can bring that link up in chat, please, that would be most appreciated. Um, but they gave me a bunch of different links, but one just to try. Oh, there you go. Thank you. Um, but basically, and I'll make sure to copy this for the people. But basically, there is a gosh dang it. There is a link they gave me. This is to their mail thing. I know there's a few other ones too, but I'm just focusing on the Proton mail thing. So what happens is that uh, yeah, I do get some sort of thing for it, but I'm not a great seller. I'm not a great marketer, so good luck with myself on that. But but I do use the product on a daily. I have AOL still, I have iCloud still, but yeah, I enjoy using this more. The reason why I have them though is because I don't know what's attached to the account, so you're sort of like you don't want to erase it just in case something happens. Like, oh, what's attached to that account? I don't know. All
How
that sort of.
old are you? 70? You have an America Online account?
I was back in the day of the '90s. All right, go pour some water on your head or something. I don't know, but anyway, um, but yeah, uh, I use a Proton Mail on the daily. They have other products too, but I'm just focusing on this. So one of the things they allow you to do in Proton Mail is they allow you to use an alias email. So
Oh.
so that way that you don't have to use your actual email. So say you have an email you want to put in for, say, like a new website or something like that, and you don't want them knowing your actual email. They will actually make a alias email for you, that you can use in order to hide your actual email, and it will email back to your actual email too. It's a direct link back, but you can use that to hide your actual email. And there's another one where they do pretty well for hitting on spammers and scammers. Look, I've looked at my AOL recently. I've looked at my Gmail. Every YouTube content creator has to have a Gmail. I bet you've had hundreds and hundreds of spam in your mailbox at this very moment, or at least your spam folder on Gmail. I know I have for AOL and iCloud. It's not fun. I gotta keep erasing this stuff. But anyway, they do a pretty good bang up job of trying to hit them before they get to you. So basically, that cooking recipe of some website you've never heard of, not even there, because it's a spam. Um, and so they do a pretty good job for that. And I've had a few people on who use it and say they enjoy using it as well. Not through me, of course, but through their own ways. But there's also another thing. The last thing too is that they get rid of email tracker stuff. So basically, when a promo product company wants to send you a link to, like, you can get 10% off here, whatever, they send a tracker link with that in order to see if you've opened the email or not. Proton kind of erases that, so they can't even tell to begin with in the first place. And if they try to send you something, that spammer thing will just block it right out. So again, this is the link. I put it on both ends for both Rumble and YouTube, and it's in the description down below. They offer 30-day free guarantee sort of thing. Look, you don't have to do anything with it. I just doing this thing because I didn't think I'd get in, to be honest. I'm just trying to promote a product I use that I think has some great benefits for many people, especially for people who are older and all that stuff, because there are a lot of the stories of scams and all that stuff is a $1 billion company, multi-billions company, uh, sort of thing. And it's sad. It's real sad when that happens. You get robocalls, you get these emails, you don't know where it's coming from. They have an urgent warning for you saying you gotta look at this, gotta pay this, or whatever. Proton Mail helps with in dealing, making sure they don't get to you beforehand. So if you want to give it a try, it's free. They have a free account thing as well. But at the end of the day, I'm just promoting a product I enjoy using, and yeah, give it a try. If you don't, that's fine. But yeah, I didn't think I'd get in for that thing. That's for sure, because I don't have the numbers, as they would say. But anyway, tomorrow yeah, I do have to give a thank you for that as well, Ryan Roger, for earlier. I I didn't know I had set it to 7 p.m. That's my bad. I thought it said to 5. I looked at it as like, oh man. So I had to reset everything to to that right. But tomorrow, but tomorrow it's at 7 p.m. the actual time. I will be having on a gentleman named Hemp Hero. He's a very
Oh,
he's a very 420 friendly dude. He actually works in a federal business. He actually has a federal job that deals with that sort of thing. He's also a he's also been in cooking as a sort of chef for I think he said around 20 years, 19, 20 years. So he's been doing cooking for quite some time. He's a really great guy in that. But yeah, he's a pretty cool dude. I've had him on once before. I was gonna have him on for my Rumble Squares, but he couldn't make it. So yeah, Weedhead. Yep, that's he's not that bad, but he does do it for a living. So there's that. But he also does streaming stuff too. On Rumble and that sort of stuff. So he'll be on tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. So I hope you'll be able to come for that. And of course, the last thing I do with my guest is questions from a hat. Now, I don't know if I did with you this last time you were here, Ryan Roger, but what happens is that I bought a hat from Rumble. I put some questions in
mhm.
it, and so what happens is that um, you get 2 freebie questions. However, if people want more than the 2 pulled out, they have to give a Rumble rant. I'm not monetized on YouTube, so too bad for that. But on Rumble, I am monetized, so you can pay $1 to $500, doesn't matter. Any amount works, and get another question pulled out. So I'm going to pull out the first question. Are you ready, Ryan?
Yes, I was just trying to kill a moth.
How to kill a mockingbird.
Well, at
Yeah.
least I'm not Asmongold. At least my ceilings are not collapsing and they're full of dead animals.
I did see that. It reminds me of when people started showing those pictures of like the dirty dishes and stuff. Yeah, that man needs either to hire a cleaner because he makes too much money. But anyway, the first one is if you could instantly master any musical instrument without practicing, which would you pick?
Piano,
Oh, really? Why is that?
because it's classical, it's sophisticated, and foreigners can't master it easily.
Well, I'll tell you what. I tried to take it as a kid. Was more like forced to take it as a kid, and yeah, nothing stuck. So there's that. So I hear you on that regard. But yeah, I would though too. I would though too. All right, let's go for another question. Unless someone gives a wrong rant, that will be it. Oh, here we go. This is probably the most basic question. Uh, do you prefer cats or dogs, and why?
I like dogs because they listen. You try telling a cat what to do, it just doesn't listen. Unless it wants food, and then it'll follow you. You
Yeah,
know.
that's a little easier than regular folk, right?
Yeah, I say the one or two things I tell a cat that actually listens. One is, of course, to get it food, and the other is to not sit on my lap because they can dig their claws in. I'm like,
Mm,
no,
mm-mm,
no, and then I say, no, no food otherwise,
mhm.
and
And
then
then
it fucking stops.
they listen. They're like, "Ooh, no catnip
Mm.
later." Yeah, I like dogs too, but man, I've not had one at all. I'm as much as responsibility as I need to be. A dog's just adding to it. So there's that. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for joining. Again, like I said, there is a wrap up portion to this because I do have to fulfill some requirements to be in the program, but it's not going to be that long. I usually show people. Well, the funny thing too is I used to just do showing like me setting up for the next stream, but I also show making memes. Oh, all right. Well, there's oh, he might have to refresh. He might have to. There he is. But I also show making memes. And if you guys want to see me make a few memes, not a whole lot, right? Uh, that will be part of it as well. So if you want to see that for the wrap up, you know where to find me. But again, thank you all to in the chat. And of course, Ryan Roger, it's been a pleasure as always.
Yeah,
You are
it just collapsed out of nowhere,
yeah,
man.
you
I
just all you have to do is refresh. You're fine. I know. It'll probably happen to me soon enough. But regardless, thank you for coming on again. And always, you have a place here anytime. I know you're always a busy guy going on other people's channels, but I appreciate your time, and that's all I have to give, basically. But it's always great, and we learn things along the way. So.
Mhm.
Uh, we try to anyway. There's some people that have learning issues, but again, as always, I end the stream with "One Day with You" by Pogo. And again, if you're a Rumble Premium user, guess what? I will be doing the wrap up. If not, I will see you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern. Guys, have a great day and see you next time. Bye.
Bye.